Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see who's on. Hold on. TV. Okay, there we go. Hey, Tanya. What's going on? How you doing? Can you hear me okay? And I didn't think to change the lighting in here, y'all. It's okay. We just chatting. Might be a little dark. I'm in my room. How you doing? Let's see here. Okay, good deal. We'll wait for some folks to come in. How's your weather? Hey, Jaden, what's up, baby? One of my sons, my play sons. I'm gonna see if I can get the lighting to be a little bit better. I didn't even think about it when I started this. Hold on, y'all. Don't go nowhere. Y'all gonna see the roof for a second. I'm in the room. Hold on. Because I'm on the bed, so we're gonna have to move, y'all. Give me a minute. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm gonna move y'all a little bit and then I'll come back. Hold on. You gonna walk with me? I got my covers on me. It's a little chilly here in Arizona. We've been getting about 30s at night. Hold on, that might be a little bit better. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I had it set up good too. Now I gotta get out the bed. Hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can get y'all set up again. All right, hold on. Let's see if we can get you set up again. Y'all can see me. That's better. That's better lighting. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Yep. Might be on for about an hour. I got work to do in this room. I had bought a shelf. This apartment doesn't have a lot of storage. And when I went back over the road, I had gotten rid of a lot of furniture and stuff, so I wouldn't have to pay a lot for storage. So like I need new couch. Um, I need furniture in the living room. I need furniture in the bedroom. I have some of my stuff, but I didn't keep a lot. I kept a lot of stuff that could break down and was hard furniture. Um, the other apartments I was at had closet units. This has a small one, but it doesn't have a lot of storage. Kitchen, obviously, y'all know is small, so I even store like my food. Some foods are like canned goods are stored in here in the hallway because I have like remember I told y'all I'm a prepper, well, urban prepper. So I have like I can shop for myself. I ain't gotta go and pay a whole bunch of exorbitant money, which we're gonna talk about. Um, but yeah, so I this room I got I was one of they call a cube unit. I had one a long time ago. You can get them from IKEA, but IKEA everybody went up on their prices, right? So IKEA, that's thing. I think I got it for like 150, if that, 150, $130 several years ago. It's like 16 cubes, and you can store a lot of stuff in it. It was pretty durable, even though it wasn't wood. It was really heavy. Well, they were almost 200, 260, $70 with shipping. I'm like, oh yeah, no. So I went on to Walmart, and Walmart had something very similar, and the brand was Better Homes and Garden, and it looks exactly like the one from IKEA. So I just got it. So I got to put it together, and I got boxes and stuff against the wall. So I'm gonna pull those out, and that's part of my project tonight. And so I'm doing some stuff tonight, and then I'll probably be on the grill. I'm gonna do like a steak, some mushrooms and stuff. I went to Whole Foods today too. There's not much going on. Waiting to see if anybody else comes in. We'll give them a few more minutes. How you guys doing? What's your weather like? Where you at? Tanya, I know you in Maryland. And then Jaden, where are you at again? And what's your weather? Here in Arizona, we've been between 50, is it 50 and 60 degrees. So that's where we've been here in AZ. What's y'all weather? I'm going to take my hat off. I've been wearing my hat, so take my hat off. Let me know what y'all weather like, because I know Alabama, I like your food too. My fat butt love food. Alabama got some good food. I wouldn't want to live in Alabama. And God bless you, Jaden, baby, because y'all got some special folk out there of other persuasions. I'm sure there's some decent folk, but yeah, some of the other folk, they kind of special. We're going to talk about folk in a minute. But the food is good. Okay, Maryland at 55 for Maryland ain't bad. That's nice. That's actually good weather. Here in Arizona, 55 is cold. It's cold right now. I'm chilly right now. I should have probably put the heat on before I came up in here and talked to y'all. We're gonna get down. We've been getting down into like 30. I think we get 30, 30, 32, which is real cold for Arizona. Um, I work now 3:30 to midnight, Monday through Friday. I took Friday off because I needed to do an eyeglass appointment because my glasses broke. And so semi. The arm of the glasses came off. I glued it back as best I could. So for one of them, and then it still didn't hold very well. So I was like, okay, it was time for me to get an eyeglass check anyway. But I went to go get glasses, and normally at Costco, I can get two pair. You can buy one and get a pair for free through the insurance company. Well, now the insurance company that I've had, and I have them again, they now charge a copay that they didn't used to. I don't remember ever paying a copay. Normally, I went in there and you could do a regular eye exam for nothing. You know, hey PJ, what's up, baby? Um, how's your weather? We're seeing how's the weather everywhere. And where you at, PJ? Um, but normally you can go and you can get um the glasses, and I don't know if I can't even remember paying $150 last year for two pairs because one of them usually comes virtually free through the company I have, which is VSP. Why did I go in there try to get the extra set of glasses? These people told me close to $200. The hell? Because it used to be you buy one and then you got a discount on the next pair you got. Well, the buy one, they would just use the insurance company money, and then you got the discount on getting a second pair. I was like, man, this. I was like, I was gonna tell her what this. I'm saying, I said, no, we just gonna do the insurance glasses. I'm gonna go online because another girl I work with, she said she orders hers online, and I know she's very frugal. So I got whatever comes with the insurance glasses. I'll have those. Those are all metal frames from Costco, and then I'm gonna go online and order a couple more pair because I want to have a backup pair, and I did do progressives again. I didn't initially like progressives, which I still don't, but I saw the difference between going from progressives to the reading glass. And the problem is, like, if I'm watching TV, but I also want to watch TV and read, I have to switch the glasses. So then the TV is blurry, and then it's a pain in the butt. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do progressives. Tanya, do you know? I know she told me Google's or goggles something for you. I have another company that I saw through Afterpay that I haven't used them yet, but I got the new prescription, so I'm gonna just go in there and see. I'm gonna go play around. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that probably between that working on these shelves, um, and doing some just cleanup around the house and getting laundry ready. Because, like I said, I didn't work Friday. What I do is on Fridays, if I work right after work, I put my laundry in the car before I leave, and then I stop at the laundromat on the way home. That way, I go to the 24-hour laundry, and ain't a bunch of little children and crazy behind parents in there normally. And the only thing I got to deal with is the homeless and the ladies of the evening washing their stuff. And they don't really bother you, they just special. But I ain't got no kids that I want to punch in the face and then go spank parents because they kids is bad as hell. And there's not usually a lot of people there when I go because it's midnight. By the time I get, sit there, let old man Red warm up, and then we get to the laundromat, it's late enough. But this week I had to have, well, old man Red didn't start up on Thursday when I went to leave work, so I had to lift home, went back. Oh, this thing, my antivirus popped up. Had to go home. Glass lit. Okay, let me put that there. Hold on, put that on my phone. Let me go check them out. Glass lit. I'm gonna send that to myself. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Hold on. Send that to myself. Okay, and I'll look them up when I get off of here. All right. So, and you said you're in Missouri. All right. What's your weather in Missouri? I do like y'all barbecue. Oh, that's right. Me and you talked about the barbecue. Yours is more of your barbecue is more of a molasses style barbecue. I prefer Texas over it, but I do like that. I also found I don't like baby back ribs. I prefer St. Louis ribs. I started because I would do pork ribs and I just never have liked them. And finally they started having some sales on the St. Louis, and I realized I like the cut of the St. Louis better than the baby back. That's why I don't like the flavor of the baby back. The St. Louis to me is leaner rib. Anyway, off of the food conversation. But yes, I went in there to get those glasses. Them dang things almost $200. So I'm gonna try to do online to be a little more frugal. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, that's not bad. So, because further east you go, what we consider cold here, because it's like 50 today, it was chilly, and then it felt like it got almost up because I left out of here. So the picture y'all see, if any of you guys saw the post, the picture of the food that I put up there, that is West African. I'll get to that too later. That was fufu, and they call it the West Hut plate. So it's like it was the way they did that. It was like a beef stew, and they had this tomato based sauce. And I had not had West African food, but the company I work for, I just went through a training for um, kind of a promotional. Well, it is a promotional position. I haven't been there long, and guys, God is good. I already got a little promotion with a pay raise and more bonuses. So praise Jesus, because they need it to bounce back. So I went through a training. The lady who trained us was two black, I'm gonna say black folks. One of them, she's from Nigeria, so she was talking about the Nigerian food, and I'd never had Nigerian food. So she showed us pictures and stuff, and I was like, "Well, I gotta go try this." So thank you, Miss Tanya. Um, so I deal more now. I'm still dealing with insurance, but I deal now more with retirees. So people who are hitting the 65, plus. So I'm dealing with them, and I actually enjoy it. Being pre-senior myself, I really enjoy it because you really learn a lot, and then you see also it's going to prepare me. Pray depending on what the Lord does. If you don't rapture the church first, whatever you do, but it'll prepare me if I get to that time on what to do and how the whole insurance works as far as your government insurance. So that's a blessing. But I decided to try Nigerian food, so I researched it, and there's a little restaurant up the street from me. So the first time I went was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I had what they call the West Hut plate, which was like chicken. It was called jollof rice, I think it is. They had a little salad and then some plantains. Very, very good. Oh, and the beef patty, which is like a pie. Phenomenal. So then I told Linda about it. And I kept telling Linda, girl, I said, I keep getting my mind off this rice. Because the rice, so if, I don't know if you guys have had Spanish rice before, like Mexican style rice, it's really good. But the Nigerian rice or Ghana, West African rice, that is bomb. Bomb, 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 bomb. The flavor is like stealth. So Linda went with me and she didn't understand. And Linda's skinny. She ain't fat like me. She's skinny and taller than me. So Linda's like, oh my God, this rice. I said, right. I was trying to tell you something was up with the rice, dude. So she stuck on the rice too. And then she had the beef patty pie, and that patty is amazing. So she's talking about that. So I took her, and then last night we all went, and Joe went, and we all got the same plate but different. Like me and Linda got the chicken, and Joe got the beef. So today I had never had fufu, and I've been curious because they had talked about it, and I want to know what fufu is. So I didn't know there was two different versions of fufu. There's a yam based fufu and I guess a plantain based. I did the yam today. Next time I do it again, I'm gonna try the plantain. And then they got something called wakai, which is it looks like when I researched that, it's like a rice and bean mixture. So the next time we go, because Joe's like, we're coming back. As soon as he bit into everything, his face was like, we're coming back, come back. He's Latino, right? He for a Mexican dude to tell you that the rice from a West African country was better than the rice from Mexican folks, that's how good that rice was. Because he was like, oh my God. He says, and he said, Shannon, the flavor of the I said, I tried to tell you, it's different. Because we like Ethiopian, but it's different. It's interesting to me how cultures can be, like, we can say African, and they can just be from different regions and the food is different. So Ethiopian food significantly different from West African food. And like I said, both of them are good, but yeah, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, so we went there last night and kind of celebrated the new promotion thing. Um, and so today I went there for lunch, and then I knew I was gonna stop. I was watching a video, and this guy was foraging for mushrooms in the forest. And I mean, I'm a cook, so I know there's different types of mushrooms, but most of us get the same traditional type mushrooms at the grocery store. We don't, me and Linda been talking about cultural eaters. So, like, we eat as Black people, we eat our culture. Some white folks do the same thing. Joe has a friend of his who's white, and she hangs with a sweetheart, and she is a cultural eater. Like I told Linda, she's an Anglo-Saxon eater. She's a typical. She doesn't like to venture too far outside of her cultural realm. And what I mean by that is, like, I can do Italian, I might do some Mexican, but things that are even more exotic, not so much. So you get Black eaters where I ain't gonna eat, like, how can I put this? It was like when I took him to this place called Euro Cafe near my house. It's European food. So European food can range in a lot of different things. You could have what they call spinacci balls. You could have calzones. You could have Greek. So it can go into a lot of veins. So when Monty went in there, he went in, and I'm gonna go to some other stuff in a minute. But when he went in there, I remember taking him, and we went to this Euro Cafe place near my house, and he wanted tea. Okay, so we have typical things. I want tea, and she goes, "What do you want to drink?" Tea. So she goes, "Okay, what kind of tea?" And he looked, Lipton. That's traditional. So it's what I know. It's what I'm used to. So I'm used to the Lipton on the shelf. That's the tea we get. That's standard tea. He didn't realize that tea ranges in a lot of things. So I said, I'm gonna order for you. So I ordered him what they had was a passionate tea, which is what I got. And so I got him one. Loved it. Loved it. He couldn't admit it till later. Well, it's a whole nother story. Um, and this is when we first started getting to know each other. This is when he kind of first reached out to me, and we started getting to know each other. So he couldn't admit it till later, but he actually liked it. But Monty, he was a Black eater, and what I mean was he's a cultural eater. So other than things like what would be mainly had been more acceptable, like maybe Italian food, pasta, spaghetti, for the most part, Mexican food, I'm not going to venture too far out of there. Some Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Thai food, those would be a little bit too out far realms. And African food, especially things like Ethiopian, the Nigerian might, I mean, the Nigerian, Ghana, West African might fall a little more in the vein because they do like baked chicken. Um, the beef is cute but very lean. And then I haven't had their goat yet, so I'm gonna do goat one time too. I like goat. I've had goat before, but see, that kind of thing would be like Linda. Linda's like, I ain't gonna try goat because she's a typical African. She'll try a few things, but she won't try. Mm-mm. Um, so you get some of us who are very stuck in veins. One of the young ladies that I work with, her and her husband came out to dinner with us, and we went to do like an early lunch dinner. And her husband, he sounds like he's a traditional Black eater. He don't like stepping out. So she like, I'm trying to introduce him to things because people won't step outside their veins. And to me, that's and yeah, I'm fat because I love food, but it's a detriment to you interacting with other cultures. So and we're gonna probably venture off here. You, I'm gonna stay in this vein. That's typical of how we eat, but that's typical of how we are in general in a lot of things. We go to typical Black churches if you're Black. I mean, some are venturing out more now. If we are in a setting, we tend to lean to congregate based on our cultures. Mexicans, blacks with blacks, whites with whites, so forth, so on. So, that's kind of, so to me, it's good to kind of venture out. So when the lady was saying, hey, this is where she from, and she started, I was like, oh, I gotta go try this. I'm curious. And I don't have a problem venturing out. And it's funny because Joe always says, Shannon, are you making friends if we go to a restaurant? Because owners and the managers of the restaurants will just come sit down and talk. And they'll start chatting with me. Big, but yeah. So, and even before I was this big, when I was living in Scottsdale, one of the ladies who ended up Asian lady, I ended up sitting down having dinner with her and her family because I'm not closed off to trying something different. It's like Monday. I bet you won't do mountain oysters. Well, mountain oysters are bull's balls. I was out in the truck in Nebraska, got stuck at a truck stop in the snow. They had mountain oysters. Ordered it and tried it. And you couldn't really tell because I didn't know. I thought they were gonna be round, right? Well, I guess they slice them and they fried them just like fish and chips, and they do French fries and that. You couldn't big whoop, and it was decent. They were good, not bad. Just fried to me. Closest thing I ain't gonna say like fish, but the way it was fried was like fish. Um, I don't know. It had kind of beef flavor, just like beef. That's just. I mean, that's what it was. It was just not. Closest thing was kind of like a cross between beef and liver to me. That's what the cross was, and I like liver. Some people don't like liver. So, cultural eaters. Anyway, y'all, that's not what this is about. So, how many of y'all don't watch this thing with these cops and this man, um, the brother? I forgot what state that was in who got killed. I forgot what state it was in. Where it was a black cops that beat the black guy to death. How many of y'all watched that? And I'm trying to figure out what y'all thoughts are because me and Linda had a really good talk on this the other day. Yeah, it's a lot. And Tanya, I feel sorry. So I'm gonna say this. I feel sorry for everybody involved, the cops as well as the young man who passed. But it's something I'm noticing, and I'm gonna talk about this. Memphis, that's right, Memphis. It was Tennessee. I'm gonna talk about this a little bit because it's something I'm noticing in our culture, especially for us. And I'm talking about black folks. And I'm noticing it in the newer generation of folks. Okay. So those of you who are my age, I watched it, Jaden. I did watch it as much as I could see, but again, I would like to know what preceded prior. Um, there was, from what I could gather, and I'm standing back looking, I'm a person, I look from the outside in and I do think different. I'm very analytical. So I see two sides of the coins of this situation. As I saw with the situation with the black man at Wendy's, as I saw with one of the other black men who got pulled over due to some kind of warrant and was asked to stand by his car and he did not listen. Um, as I did with this video. And I'm going to say this again. I feel sorry for both families, all the families involved, the cops that are possibly going to prison. I feel sorry for the young man who died and his family. If he had any children, his family, his parents. But there is something that I'm seeing that's permeating, and I also think how we're viewing it is not always. I'm gonna see if I can put this in context because I see issues on both sides of the issue. Okay, how we're viewing these situations, I think is biased. That's the way I'm gonna put it. Okay, as African Americans, or minorities in general. So again, I don't know what happened before, but just listening, and I kind of saw it on several different channels, and not trying to become emotional based on the beating, but trying to step back in a more look at what's taking place here. Just look and listen. Don't don't get pissed off right now because they beat this boy to death and it's like a black on black crime. Don't do that. Step back and listen to what's going on here. So again, I would have probably wanted to see more of what happened before, but what I gathered from just watching it, they say again, I don't know true false, but they said he was driving reckless. That's point one. So I'm just gonna go with that point. So something prompted them to pull him over. Okay. Point two. My understanding was from what I watched, there was a point they asked him to get out the car. He did not. They then pulled this boy out the car. Okay. In doing that, it's almost like what we know as resisting. Okay. I'm just going to go based on what I'm seeing. And I need to probably watch it again. I watched it like 3 times. Because the first time I said, get your emotions in check when you're watching this. Because I'm seeing people jump on emotional bandwagons based on the outcome of what they're looking like is negative based on who they're projecting to be the victim. Okay. They then say, lay on the ground to this young man. Okay. Somehow he begins to talk about y'all doing extra. I ain't done nothing. So he now is confronting the policeman. Okay. And again, I'm just laying out what I saw. At this point, they then try to force him on the ground and he begins to what looked to me like resist. Okay. They then, at this point, everything goes negative because the cops then go wrong. And this is where I'm going to say they really went wrong. They got mad and they stopped. Hey, hi, Keita, welcome to the channel. They stopped. They lost their emotions. They lost control of their emotions. And the one thing me and Monty used to talk about, me and Grumpy, was if you let people control your emotions, they control you. Okay. So now their tempers are flared, being the cops, because he, to them, and again, I'm just looking at the general thing, he's not listening to them, number one. Okay. He's not listening to them. So they're pissed. They flare, which that's where cops need to get that under control. That's a counseling issue. You're going to have to learn how to control your emotions so you know how to control the situation. Because if you don't control your emotions, everything breaks loose. Any of us that could happen to. You get in a situation, you get heated, it's going to be on and popping. They flare. And at that point, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Okay. They beat the hell out this young man, which was most likely, well, it was very much unnecessary. That's where they were wrong. Okay. And they beat him to the point where unfortunately he passed. Now, here is where I want to chime in. And I'm seeing this. Now, I'm a lot older than most folks. And some of y'all in here is probably around my age and maybe older, or maybe around the same age. Some of y'all are younger. When I grew up, it's kind of I know that some people, black people, say they had talks with their sons about what to do if you got pulled over by the cops, what to do if authority came up to you, how to handle it. I'm a West Coast person. So I grew up here in Arizona. We went in between Arizona and California. I go know people from Cali. Cali had a big problem with this, where you be in the hood, your brother, and the cops mess with you, you might have a bad dang day. So it'd be in your best interest to make sure you listened and obeyed. Trucker Bill, he told me, he said, the guy with the gun and the badge, whatever he told me to do, I'm doing. Because we're from a time frame where you didn't listen. It could be your life, as in some of the situations we are seeing now, or a hell of a beating. Okay. Here in Arizona, I remember I was in my 20s. I have a cousin who's an attorney, and his mom was an RN. And I remember I was going by their house, and this cop had pulled his brother over right in front of the house because they lived in the hood. The brother took his hands and put them out the car just like this. Okay. Everything that you could tell, because when I pulled up, I parked in front to go into the house because this whole transaction took place right outside of my aunt's house. So he put his hands out the car like this, and that brother basically, I ain't got no weapons. I'm listening. I don't want you to kill me. What you want? What you need from me, officer? And I got out my car and walked in out. But even when I got out the car, I did it in a certain way based on the situation that was going on around me. Okay. We came up in my generation in a time where when you were pulled over, you obeyed. Yes, sir. No, sir. He say, stand there. You stand there. You didn't go do crazy stuff. You didn't disobey. You didn't fight back. You didn't resist because the goal was you want to live to see another day. Okay. I am seeing something that is disturbing to me among our people. And I understand that the newer generation, you guys, was a twofold situation. It's several fold. As a people, we're tired. We're tired of the discriminatory behavior that we have faced for years. But we also have a new generation of people who I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to do it my way, cut nose off, spite face. But that very behavior may get you dead. And that is what's disconcerting because I'm seeing it a lot in these types of scenarios. You know, I look back over the deaths that now have sparked and the fact we now can film it. I look over the deaths that have sparked this new, almost rebellious nature that was already kind of there. And even with one of the biggest ones we knew, the gentleman did resist. And even how it was handled was horrible because it still bugs me to this day with that man on that baby's neck. But he was resisting at the same time. Okay. If you go back and you can take a step back, he didn't comply, but he was trying to tell him, I got these kind of issues, whatever. There may have been other ways to handle it. The problem, though, is that all of a sudden we have a group of our people who aren't listening, and therefore they're not living to see another day because you have to. And in this case, what was really more horrific was that it was us on us. And I'm going to say that it was black on black. It's something we've seen more in other ethnicities against us with badges, but this time it was us on us. So now it's authority issues against non authority issues. So us on us. And therefore, the other problem, which me and Linda talked about the other night, was hey, my baby Jay, what's up, my brother? We on the same page, Jay. I'm getting ready. We on the same page. I'm trying to break it down as kind and as wisely as I can, but me and you on the same page. We 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 are still in the vein of a racial society. It hasn't disappeared. While we have seen advancements, we're in a racist country. We've been raised up in it. It permeates everything. I'm doing a class right now on communication, and she just put a video up. The professor of this class, actually, which I'm liking, and my university is not a HBCU. It's a Christian university, but the lady who's training my class happens to be a black lady who graduated from Howard, and I forgot where she had her master's was from. And she just did something with some Asian Americans talking about racist views on just how people perceive them and things that permeated questions. America is a racist society. We've been raised up in it. Our school systems, our government, it is what it is. We have learned how to work within a system that was not created for us. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they worked civil rights in a system that was not created for us. So they used a racist system in order to get us rights. In essence, in my opinion, the best way to say they found loopholes in order for us to have certain rights. And then they got things changed a little bit. But personalities, thought process, entrenched behaviors, those things are trained in schools. There's a reason why right now they don't want to teach other cultural history, because if you teach other cultural history, especially African American history, you then have to take a mirror and look at the history that you taught in America and say, oh, that's not true and that's racist. That's not true and that's racist. And we got to take a mirror up and look at ourselves, okay? But just because we're in a racist society does not mean that we justify bad behavior, okay? And that's the best way I can put this. Granted, I may not agree with anything the authority who stopped me said, but that is the authority. And if the authority that stopped me says, sit your behind in that seat and don't move, sit your behind in that seat and don't move. If the authority tells me to stand at the back of the car and wait while they run whatever they need to run, I need to follow those directions. I don't run, jump back in the car, and drive down the street. And then when they come shooting at me and I'm paralyzed, I now have issues because I did not obey. I decided to do things my way, and it puts you in a predicament that you could have avoided, most likely. Live to see another day. And there's other ways to prayerfully handle this later down the road. But live to see another day. This situation that happened, it's heart-wrenching. What I saw was heart-wrenching because I saw, in my humble opinion, from what the clip that we saw, because again, I would have liked to know more of what happened a little bit before all of this. I want to see the reckless driving. I would like to have seen as they walked up to the car, what was the conversation prior to that door opening? I want to know that. That's the part I want to see. However, what I saw told me a lot. Um, were the cops out of order? Yes, they went. They went to extremes. They went to extremes that were unnecessary. You had them on the ground. You didn't have to kick them, punch them, beat the hell out of them. But at this point, their tempers were on stealth because this gentleman was not listening. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to talk back. Y'all doing extra. Gun and badge. What Bill say? I'm going to do what the person with the gun and the badge says. Why? Because he wants to live another day. Bill is an Oakland boy. So he knows from Oakland, California, what the behaviors were. California cops was off the chain back in the day. So he knew what the repercussions are. So now as a truck driver, I ain't got no, what do you want me to do, officer? Yes, sir, officer. No, sir, officer. Yes, sir, no, sir. When I went into transportation, he told me, if they stop you, yes, sir, no, sir. Do everything they say. Don't give them a reason. I'm seeing with the new generation, you guys, and God bless you. I'm going to do it my way. I see it in the company I'm in right now. We have certain rules and regulations, and people break every last one of them. The new generation, I'm doing my way. And don't get me wrong, it's not only them. There's some people like me, but like my age generation, even Grumpy. Grumpy was very much a cut nose off spite face to do things. I'm going to do it my way. How he died was very much and I'm going to do it my way. And I told him, you're going to either get it or you're going to get it. We'll either learn or relearn. And all of us do it in some form. My way, we all do it in some form or fashion. I'm going to do it my way. And some of it are strongholds, addictions, whatever it may be. But others of it is controlling behavior to just, that's, to me, it's not an addictive behavior to follow orders. But I'm going to do it my way. And it's sad because we're looking at it, and when I step back and I watch how most of us look at it, me and my best friend Shannon, we kind of discussed because she doesn't agree with me, but they were on and just went to the extreme because you're upset because we've been discriminated against so much that you can't look at right and wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. Both parties were wrong in this, but what happened was not right, and unfortunately this baby lost his life. Because if he would have stepped out the car, yes, sir, no, sir. Boom, 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 boom. Apparently, he wasn't that far from his house. I don't know. Again, I don't know what's happening. Was he driving recklessly or whatever? We don't go there. Instead, they go to all the bad stuff. The fact that the cop beat him up. Did this gentleman not listen? And like I said, from the start of what little bit we could see from the start, he was kind of not adhering to what they were asking. You don't want to do that in a situation where you're dealing with authorities and people with guns and badges. Because at this point in time, how you gonna win? And he didn't. He didn't win. Granted, they didn't shoot him, but they beat the hell out this baby. And he didn't win, but could he have lived to see another day and dealt with this if he had a wrongful stop? I don't know if you guys remember the stop. The white cop stopped that military guy at the gas. He was at the gas station and they were talking to him crazy. All of that was recorded. Now, I don't know if he got some money because he lived to see another day, but I best believe that some things were, because we all looked at that negatively. This is one of our soldiers. He was very, he didn't fight back. He adhered to authority, even though whatever that stop may not have been right or whatever was going on, he listened and he did not fight back. And we all were like, you want to look like that. He did I figured he got some money out of that, Tanya. I figured. Because you want to look like that. Because to me, when I watched that to me showed me, okay. And he was calm and them cops was out of order and it was even, but now you're seeing this belligerence coming from the person who later becomes a victim because they didn't listen. And I'm not trying to negate in any way that the cops are right. But what I'm trying to say is we need to go back to some old-fashioned philosophy that my group grew up with that basically said, just like Trucker Bill said, and Bill's like in his 60s, I'm going to obey the guy with the gun and the badge. Even if the dude is a dick, I'm just going to be real. The Bible tells us about acknowledging authority, even if they're out of order, because we just have to. And we deal with it in a different, there's a more civilized way to deal with it. But we've got a generation of humans now, hell, they don't even listen to their own parents. I'm gonna do it my way. They're entitled. And so now you got a group of people that this is where they're at. Well, that's what he settled for. He could have got more than that. But and yeah, I don't know, like I said, he didn't take the beating that other ones did. So $3,600 and I'm still breathing, that I would be satisfied. I'm sorry. This man is in a casket. He can't even get $35. He can't get $2. He can't get $1.50. I don't know if he has children. I know he left a mama and some other folks behind. He can't get nothing. But we see if we say, oh well, he only got this much money. Well, hey, if he got $2, the blessing of all of it is he's still breathing to spend the $2. If he got no dollars, he's still breathing. He got something that says something was wrong, but he's still breathing. We got some folks right now who dead, who were belligerent, and they're not breathing. Live to see another day. That's my whole thing. Are they right? Are they wrong? I don't know. Would it have gone a different route? I don't know. But when you sitting up there and I'm not gonna I'm fighting back, I'm gonna run away, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna steal the taser, I'm gonna tase you back. There was a movie out and I didn't go see it. I just saw the clip of it. And I had problems with it, which is why I didn't go see it, because I kind of knew where the storyline was going, and I can't. And I don't know, y'all guys may know the movie. It's a black movie, and it was about, I think, two teenagers, a girl and a guy. The cops pulled him over. I guess he left his phone in the car, something like that. The cops tell him to get out the car for whatever the reason was. Didn't really matter what the reason was. And again, can't listen. He decides, I'm going to go reach into the car, and they shot and killed him. They don't know what he's reaching for. But I can tell you the attitude of the people who saw that, who were like me, oh, that cop was wrong. It wouldn't have had to be a white cop for me. It could have been me. I don't know what you're reaching for. And I told you to stand right there and be still. It's the same way a parent, this is different. This is a parenting issue too. My mom was cuckoo. She was a very abusive woman. My mom said, Shannon, sit your behind over there in that corner. I set my behind in that corner. Do not move, because she was the authority, even if she was an a-hole. She was the authority. And I learned from a child that I had to obey that authority. Now, when things got abusive, groups came in. I ended up being moved in with my grandfather. That's what happened. But she was the authority. She was abusive. She was an a-hole. You can have a-hole abusive cops. But if they authority, live to see another day. Okay? Don't that's what broke my heart when I watched this. I'm like, man, brother, why couldn't you have done just like that brother did outside my aunt? Put your hands out the car, officer, what you need? Bro, what you need? What you want me to do? On the ground, I'm on the ground. Hands out. Live to see another day. Get home. Y'all doing extra talking back, fighting them when they try. No, no. And now and I'm not saying they were right, because like I said, they were wrong in my opinion. But now you just triggered anger. And now it went from not even guy being an officer to him thinking you're a dick. And now he's going to beat the hell out of you. And the other thing is, you're going to get that because they are the authority. So then you have that part of it. People who have authority, they get boss mode. I'm the boss. You ain't going to listen to me? I'm going to whoop your behind, my ninja. And that's what happened. It's sad. And it was sad to see it was us. Linda brought up another good point. She said, I'm mostly pissed off because she said, and don't get me wrong, I think what they did was wrong. She said, but my other issue is there's a difference between how quickly they, how they use the example of these black officers against this black man, and they fired him and all this other stuff. Where had that been an Anglo white officer, he gonna get leave. She said he gonna get all this. And she said, but that the way, and I said, because they want them as an example, like they're really doing something. And I hate to say it, part of this society we live in, the racist stuff. Look at this. You got ninjas beating up ninjas and killing ninjas as cops. It ain't only us because we white. It's a whole nother can of worms that opens up. But ultimately, and it's gonna go back to J212, my brother. It's spiritual. This is all very spiritual. Cops have authority, power. And it says, there's an old saying, power corrupts absolutely. So, which means that it can become corrupted because you all of a sudden feel you're in power and you're in control. You feel important. You feel superior. It's a garden thing. It goes back to the garden. Hey, when you eat of that fruit, you'll be just like God. I want to be important. I want to be seen. I want to be prestigious. I want to be. So the cops, hey, I'm important. You don't talk back to me. And you don't. You can't. This is where you have to, because when you're dealing with people who are caught up in their own authority, they're dangerous. My mom was very abusive. People who caught up in their authority, especially any kind of authority, whether it could be abusive parent who's crazy, or an officer, or anybody. The previous administration, all them folks hanging out the side of the building, that man didn't care. He was enjoying it because it stroked his authority ego. All these people doing all this craziness and madness, he sat there and watched in a room and watched TV, and folks saying, you really need to go out there and talk to these people. They're crazy. He sat there and, oh, we love you. No, he loves them because it's stroking absolute power. But power absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the saying. When human people are given power and they want to be in charge, it's a garden thing. That will be corrupted because they get caught up into their own ego. This is why you put your hands out the window. This is why you obey. This is why you don't go back to the doggone car when the cop tells you to stand in the back, and granted it's a movie, and you're going to reach in and get the phone and then wonder why you did. You cannot. You cannot. It goes back to what me and Bill were talking about years ago. You do what the authority tells you with the gun and the badge. Live to see another day. There's a new generation of people. You guys remind me of Grumpy. I'm going to do things my way. There were things I told Grumpy, and I told him, you're going to get it or you're going to get it. The way Monty died was not good. What I saw when I got to that apartment where he was at financially, and he wasn't poor or broke, he just mismanaged money. And he chose the route he chose, from food to cigarettes to how he lived. And I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm going to do it my way without changing. At the end, it wasn't good. When I got there, just at the end, and trying to manipulate people to stay in your stuff. Not good. Not good. So what I'm seeing with the new generation, like I said, even at the company I'm at and prior company, folks don't do it. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. I ain't listening to you. I don't care about you. I don't care about your authority. I'm gonna do my way. Okay. Good luck with that. And but at the same time, like the company I'm at, they were so desperate. They just recently did layoffs too. So I survived layoff. But a lot of these people who were doing all this craziness, they ain't there right now. And you don't think that it's going to impact you. It is. It can. It can. Because you want, I want to do it your way. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it my way. It's not gonna be a good experience at the end because it all comes back around. It's all very relative. When I saw what I saw, like I said, I had to step back. Were the cops wrong? Yes. Was he wrong? In some instance, to me, yes. At least from what I could see. And again, I'm just going on the little small clip. They asked him to get out the car. Something happened where he wouldn't get out the car, so they snatched him out the car. Also, the other thing that could have caused that, that's why I said I would like to see more. If you say he was driving reckless, you put the lights on him and he hadn't pulled over, cops already pissed off because now I'm having to chase you and pull you over. That's another concern, the number of cops. That tells me there was a lot going on prior to what we saw. Hey, Flatbed, what's up? It tells me there was a lot going on prior to what we saw. And at least in that clip, because normally you have a cop chasing you. You know, you have one cop car, two cops in that car normally, at the most. But the number of officers they show, there was a lot more going on prior to that stop. That's what, at least that's what I'm gathering. Unless there was some sort of prior knowledge of them, like they knew each other somehow. But based on what I'm seeing, because normally if you have cops, it's gonna be like that one cop. Okay, he's driving recklessly. I'm following the car, driving. Okay, put their lights on you. They want you to stop, and if you're driving real crazy, then they call in their buddies. Here, if you're doing a traffic thing, that's standard. Matter of fact, just here in Arizona, I'm on the way to work. I could tell they doing probably quotas. Okay, as I'm going on the access road, I see the highway patrol pull one off. He on his motorcycle, he pulled one off. I go up a little bit more, state trooper, he done pulled another one off. I said, okay, this must be quotas. They trying to meet their quotas. He pulled another one off. They didn't call 5 different cops for that pullover. Now, let there be a problem. Like I gotta chase you. All of a sudden, boom, we got high speed chase, boom, 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 boom. And now you see 5, 6, 7, 8 different cop cars. Now you're getting ready to have a party. And you're gonna have more than one cop, normally anywhere from the number that we saw. So that's why I said, I wonder what else was going on prior. We want to make victims seem innocent, and I do believe he is a victim. But in recent times, I cannot tell you if he was innocent. Right. That's my no, I'm saying his other cop partners called to get an assist if there was something else going on. That's exactly what I'm saying, Flatbed. So normally if they just gonna pull you over for a routine traffic stop, hey, they normally, at least here in Arizona and some other places, even when I drove a truck, it's just one cop pulling you over. They don't normally, it's not like, 2 or 3 cop cars. They're pulling you over for just a routine stop. So let me give you an example. When my friend was here and thinking about coming to work for the trucking company I was at, and she was staying with me, she's driving, and I think she forgot to have her lights on or something at night. She just forgot to turn them on. So we get pulled over by the cops. Okay. There's three of us in the car. Me and her in the front. Her son is sitting in the back. Two cops in the car that pulled us over. Another cop drove past. He didn't stop to try to assist him because he didn't. We were already stopped. They were already talking to us. It was more so just a warning, just saying, hey guys, you got the lights off. They did look in the car because they have to. And the son was sitting in the back, and the officer said, who's in the back? Because there was two ladies in the front. And I looked at my friend Regina, and Regina said, that's my son. Cop says, okay. He says, the only reason we pulled you over, ma'am, was you don't have your lights on, and it's pretty late right now. And she didn't realize that her lights weren't on. And she goes, oh, we both said thank you. They let us go. But again, we were calm. We weren't fighting. We weren't resisting. We answered questions. We were cordial. We knew how to answer. Her son sat back there quiet, did not make any sudden movements. You don't do that. We can't. We know we are Black in America. Point blank, period. It ain't changed. In some instances, are things better? Yes. For some parts, very little, but yes. I mean, it's not Jim Crow, but there's still an underlying racial issue in this country, and especially for the wonderful people with badges and guns. But as we saw with this situation that recently just happened, it don't take for them to be not us. In this case, it's an authority issue, and I'm going to do what I want to do. Again, I don't know what took place prior, but the little that I saw in that video, it did concern me. Y'all doing extra. Man, lay down. Man, lay down. And he was bucking, moving. No, lay your behind down. Live to see another day. For them to have to drag him out that car, that says some stuff too. All of this and the more you fighting, the more they getting angry, and then now the more you putting yourself in danger because they got the gun and the badge. You don't in this case. It's not a win-win situation. Therefore, yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Live to see another day. Live to see another day. Right, Tanya? Sometimes, yeah, flatbed, that you will have some that stick back if they think there's assist. But like I said, normally if it's just a routine stop, unless there's something they see, in the case of this gentleman, that's what I'm saying. In the case of this gentleman, if they're usually announcing that there's something going on. They were announcing that he was doing reckless driving. That's why I said I would have wanted to see what took place before the pulling out of the car, pulling him out and snatching him out the car, before getting him on the ground. It tells me that there was something else going on prior to this, unless they dirty cops. That's the only other thing, and I don't know about that. But just from the video footage, when they walked up, and you probably have to go back because I don't know how many times you watch it. I watched it like 2 or 3 times because I was like, at first I got mad, but then I'm like, okay, step back, because that's the other thing. Oftentimes when I've been seeing these situations, we're getting mad immediately and we're not looking at the big picture. And step back. It's just like I said, what was the guy who was at the Wendy's or whatever? He was drunk or something in his car, fell asleep. Next thing you know, you see him fight and snatch the taser from. No, 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 no. I couldn't get with that one. And everybody, he was the victim. He ended up being a victim, yes, because he snatched the taser from a cop and then tried to tase back. Like, what in the Sam Hill? And we're justifying that as right. That is not right. I can't. You're drunk in your car, meaning you're driving intoxicated. You done fell asleep in the line. They had to call the police because you're drunk in the line. You then, when we watch it, and I'm sitting up there going, no, I didn't agree with any of it. But I got Black people who told me, oh man, the cop was he? Was the cop wrong? They were originally talking to this gentleman. Then all of a sudden, everything went cuckoo. They had another one, something about a warrant. Pull this dude over. They have him at the back of his car. They talking to him. He'd had some kind of altercation with somebody. It was something going on domestic. They tell him stand back here at the back of your car. They trying to investigate the situation. This gentleman, I'm getting ready to say something bad. This gentleman decide he ain't gonna listen. I'm gonna go get back in my car. They shoot him up, and I think he ended up being paralyzed because we don't want to live to see the next day, or we don't want to keep walking. For those two, I couldn't justify those two situations. I didn't because, like I said, they didn't have to be white cops. I would have probably done the same thing. Because if I told you to stay up behind here at the back of this car, stay at the back of the car. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're getting in the car for. I don't know if you got a AK-47. I don't know what you got up in there. What I do know is I'm gonna live to see another day. And if I told you to stand back here because I'm checking into things, I need you to stay your behind right here. Do not move. And to me, this goes back to just like being a child. Your mama, your daddy says, sit your behind down in that corner. Sit your behind down in that corner. I'm just gonna walk. Oh no. With my mom, she'd have probably punched you in the face, whooped you, threw a shoe at you. Ciao bye. Because you ain't listening. I'm gonna make you listen. I it's disconcerting. And like I said, this situation was a little bit. I saw both sides. Are the cops wrong? Absolutely. They went way above board. There is no way that baby should have been in that situation. I mean, beat like that. Once they had him down on the ground, handcuff him, put him in the back, and then just go ahead and file resisting arrest on it. But they literally beat the hell out that baby because they were angry. But at the same time, that baby, I believe, could still be alive if he would have just been yes, sir, no, sir. You don't have to get no long conversation. You don't have to tell the cops they being extra. Yes, sir, no, sir. Be like that military officer and live to see another day. And even if it's us, just because it's us, don't mean you can't follow rules, follow what they tell you. It's sad. But what we saw was the beating by authorities, and we automatically pissed off at the authorities. Are they wrong? Yes. They were wrong in this situation because they went, like I said, they went way above. Even if he did not listen, that beating should not have happened to that degree. Okay. If really at all. Because like I said, there is a point where you see him on the ground. He's already on the ground, but then they just kicked the hell out of him. I'm like, wait a minute, he's on the ground. It's the same as when they had, I forgot, was it Floyd or whatever? And that guy just laid on his neck. You got him on the ground. Why are you still on this man's neck? This we can't justify two wrongs don't make a right. That's what I'm gonna really say. Two wrongs don't make a right. And for those who can't hear, my prayer is that y'all, we have not gotten to a point where what's the word I want to say? Things have not changed so much that you can most likely walk away with your life when you're dealing with people in an authority position. Okay. Well, and that's I did say that earlier, Flatbed, is that there's obviously and you hit it because that is really I said that earlier that you got to be part of the training that needs to happen. Like I don't believe in the defund the police. I think that's just craziness. I believe we need police, and if something happened in my house, I'm gonna call the police. And I don't want to defund where ain't no police coming. I'd rather deal with that because to me, if we have a bunch of the idiots out here, we're gonna have anarchy. And unfortunately, we do need police. I'm sorry, we need them. Okay, we got too many cuckoos and folks kind of like belligerent, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. Um, no, matter of fact, I just got in the mail that we got a sexual offender around this area who I guess is transient or whatever, and has failed to report in, and he's a Chester the molester and has molested like 3 girls, and so he's out here as a transient. Then he's been last seen in the area where I live, so they put notices out in our box to tell us that there's a predator or offender. Look, I'm gonna call the cops if I see old boy. Like, hey, he does. It's young girls that he messing with, teenage like underage girls that he molests. But I'm calling the cops, 69-year-old perv. I don't believe in defunding the police. They need to be funded. Matter of fact, but what we need to do is fund them to where they get proper training on how to control their tempers and when to not let their emotions get heightened. And in that situation, that's really what I was saying, is that because he, I think, did not listen from what I gathered. Again, we're coming in after supposedly him driving erratically, after them stopping the car. And the only part we come into is what takes place at the door. That's what I said. I would have liked to see what happened before the door was open. But at this point, it's from what I gathered in the conversation, it was like they asked him to step out the vehicle. He was belligerent about that. They asked him to get on the ground. He was belligerent about that. They then had to force him on the ground and they said, lay down. They're heightened because you're not listening. So now they're getting pissed off. That's my mom. Okay. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you because you ain't listening to me. That's what I said. There's a point where when you got people who are crazy or who that energy level is up, it's done. You don't want to fight them. That goes back to exactly what Trucker Bill said. They got the gun and the badge. Yes, sir, no, sir. Ask you to lay down, you get down. Lay down. Ask you to stand in the back of the car, stand in the back of the car. Don't move. Don't move. Stand your ass right there. Don't move. We have a problem with authority. And like I said, I understand that some of it is a new generation who they have no respect of authority because their parents didn't even raise them. So they didn't respect the authority they were under in their home, in their own homes. I got a friend of mine, different culture, he's minority group, but I noticed that there is no discipline of their children. And I noticed culturally, family wise, a lot of them, a lot of their children, I noticed the manners, I noticed the entitlement, I noticed behaviors. Even if you go to the grocery store with this particular culture, they'll walk on top of you. They don't say, excuse me. Manners are not given. And I'm not going to say all, but I've seen it in a good chunk of them. And I have them in my family. I have a very close friend of mine, culturally, and I'm saying all because I never will say all. That'd be like saying all black people are ignorant, all black people eat watermelon. That's a lie. But I'm gonna say I do see a good amount of how culturally they are raised or not raised. They allow their children certain behaviors that is like there's no manners taught. And even with my friend, I watched him take over some uh, children that he had to adopt, and I watched culturally, or at least from what I observed and understood from interacting, they don't raise their kids the same way. Mm-mm. Like the butt whoopings and come to Jesus meetings. No. Mm-mm. And then they'll tell them they're the winner and they're the best and everything else. And so these bad behaviors are not stopped. And then when they get to adulthood, they're entitled. Like we had a talk at the table last night. So like when you get a phone call, like my mom would get on the phone, you didn't interrupt my mother. Uh-uh. You you interrupt my mom while she's on the phone call, she just haul off and slapped you in your face, slapped you right dead in your mouth. Go sit your behind down. You're not going to sit here and make me get off the phone because you want it to be about you. Therefore, you're going to respect and show manners. That granted, it was abusive how she did it, but it is a teaching of manners. However, you need to teach that, you need to teach that. Right now, if I call my friend and those people who are now adults, they just overtalk, interrupt his phone conversation, talk to him at the door, no excuse me, no, I'm sorry, this is an emergency. And like my friend Linda was saying, she said, you didn't interrupt my mom, her mom either. She said, it better be an emergency. Manners were taught. And this is what's concerning me because this newer generation of folks, they're not being taught. They're not. The other thing was a lot of them when these happening, they're calling out for mama. And that also tells me there's some maturity issues. I'll be calling out for Jesus. But at the same time, that is where mama gonna rescue me, mama gonna save me. there should have been something instilled. And again, I don't know, and my heart goes out. It's sad. The situation is sad because I see training issues with us. I see this new mindset, and I saw it even with my biological father. I'm going to do things all my way to a detriment. I was telling Linda about when he did the move from his apartment that was literally me and Joe talking about it. Joe saw where my father lived and where he used to live, and he's like 4, maybe 5 blocks. I researched the moving company. I told him they'd come in and pack them. Wouldn't cost him probably $500. He ended up paying because if you tell him to go right, he gonna go left. He ended up getting some shanky dude who came with his daughter, and him, the daughter, and my father, and then the crackhead coming down the street trying to lift an old heavy wood buffet down some stairs because you wouldn't listen. And if you say go right, I'm gonna go left. If you say go left, I'm gonna go right because I'm gonna cut nose off to spite face. In the situation like this, you don't need to fight with these cops. They got the gun and the badge. I'm not telling you they're right at what they're doing, but also you're dealing with a human being with authority. And you don't know how a human being with that authority, if they're good, bad, or indifferent. You don't know. What you do know is you need to be careful. We need to get back to some old-fashioned rules. And I don't give a dang if they're black, Latino, Anglo. They got a gun and a badge. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. Even in my workplace right now, you can do all this attendance stuff. I got perfect attendance, knock on wood. They just did a massive layoff. I mean, massive. I got promoted to a whole other department during this layoff. I just got the upgrade about the promotion that is going to be finalized on the 29th. And praise God, I still have a check coming. You need to position yourself because you don't know what people are going to do above you. You don't know how people are going to judge you. So therefore, you need to be careful, even in these stops, authority, whatever they. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not fighting with nobody. I'm trying to live to see another day. We'll deal with this afterwards if it's inappropriate. Because you trying to deal with it right then and there, if it's off, even if they stopped him for the wrong reasons, just like they stopped that military dude. He remained professional. It was heart wrenching because I believe it was discriminatory, but that brother lived to see another day. Officer talked to him crazy. They did some crazy stuff, but he's still breathing. He ain't beat up. And I'm saying he couldn't be, but if he did get beat up, that's just because you really over the top dicks, not because he's sitting up there talking you crazy. And I'm gonna say what I want to say, and no, 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 and I'm gonna poke the bear. That's really a good way to put it. I'm gonna poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. Live to see another day. Live to see another day. Let me read some of the comments. Oh, I'm sitting up here scrolling, trying to scroll my finger. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, Flatbed, if you watch the video, and I mentioned that in the beginning when I started talking about this, and this is just what I saw, and I watched it like 3 different times. And like I said, you could tell there was something else that transitioned or transpired before what we see on film from the clip. They approach the car, and you see the approach at the car. The door is open, and there's some kind of dialogue which tells me, if I remember correctly, that they told him to get out the car. He didn't do that, so they snatch him out the car. Okay, so they already heightened, which tells me the emotions were heightened probably from the chase, which tells me, did you keep driving and not pull over? What took place prior. That's what I said. To see what took place prior would be critical. Okay, that's number one. So once they did get you stopped, did something dialogue, and you were to step out the car because the car door is now open. This ain't just a window roll down and you hand the officer your information. The door is open. So the door being open tells me, and I believe if I remember the conversation, was that he was supposed to step out the car. He didn't do that, and they snatched his behind out the car. Okay. Then there's part of it where you see him being wrestled to the ground, and they said, bruh, basically, they said, bruh, but dude, lay down. And he says to them, y'all doing extra. That should have never been said. Yes, sir. At that point, you let go. You do what you got to, you let go. Yes, sir. You don't fight because this is going to go bad, and it went bad. At that point, y'all doing extra, you just popped off. And now the cops, you already done pissed them off probably because whatever took place prior to the stop. You also done pissed them off because they told you to get out the car and they snatched you out the car. Now you popped off talking about y'all doing extra. Now they got you on the ground physically because now they heighten all those emotions, all that testosterone. It's all heightened now. You done pissed them off. Like I said, I'm not saying it was just because I don't believe it was just, but I'm also saying live to see another day, people. Don't even go there. Just shut up. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's it. It's done. Live to see another day because that's a human being. And they got a gun and a badge, and ain't no telling where the mind goes. You don't know if they right, wrong, good, bad. You don't know none of that. Just because they got the gun and badge don't make them good or bad, but they do have a gun and badge. They are the authority. So just like if you were trained by your mama and your daddy, and your mama said, go sit your ass down in that corner, I'm just keeping it 100, you need to go sit your behind down in that corner. We don't have that group of people anymore. Folks is like, I ain't gonna sit down. I'm gonna do what I was at the grocery store yesterday. I went and picked up my little groceries after my eyeglass appointment. I'm getting in my car. This one, no, I was getting ready to get out the car to go in the grocery store. Black lady comes out. And this is like I said, things have changed from when I was growing up. She had a little boy. I'm estimate that baby was maybe under the age of 7 or 8 years old. Okay. He thumping on the car, beating on the car. Mama said, get in the car. She getting in the car. He thumping on the car. So and so, I'ma leave you, whatever his name was. I'ma leave you. He beating on the car. Boy, I told no, not in my day. Francis? That's my mother's name. She got out that car and would have towed my tail up in between the door and the car. I told you to get in this damn car. You would sit up and I dare you to cry. What no, I'ma leave you. What no 3 or 4 times asking. You knew authority when you knew authority. And before it was over, my mom didn't have to beat me a lot. Because there was a point I knew she was cuckoo. All she do is speak. Me and Linda were talking about this the other day. Now with these new people, Linda said her daughter, she got one daughter she's ever had to spank. She said the other one, she just snapped the belt because she was their mama. They knew authority. And she would speak, snap the belt, and they go sit there behind down. She have to do nothing else. She have to do nothing else. Because they respected it. My best friend Jane, she said the same thing with her dad. She said all he had to do was look at you. That's a respect of authority. And we don't have it anymore. And especially in those situations. And my thing was lay down, put your hands out, and be quiet. Live to see another day. And I'm not trying to blame him for his death, but what I'm trying to say is that because they went way over top. Everything you do can poke the bear. And if you're poking the bear, you don't know how the bear is going to respond. The bear is going to claw you, kill you, eat you, whatever. You don't want to poke the bear. And they were the bear. Not a good thing. And that's why I said my heart goes out to the family. But when you see these, and I guess one of the reasons I'm talking about it, because I don't know that we're even really talking about this anymore and how we are to interact with authority figures in those situations. You don't want to argue. You don't want to tell them they're doing extra. You don't even have any, all that dialogue is gone. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. I'm getting out the car. Yes, sir. Hands up. They would have filmed me. My hands would have been up. I would have been in that Innocent pose. I'm getting out the car. There wouldn't have been no popping off. There wouldn't have been no, yes, sir. What do you want me to do, sir? That was it. You want to look as innocent as possible and let them be fools if they're going to sit up there and still be doing foolish stuff. Because then you might be living and breathing, and maybe it is $36,000. Maybe it's no money, but at least you're still breathing. You still living. And that's better than being dead. I'm just saying. Let me. Yeah, and that's watch the video. Flatbed, go back and watch the video. They have to. There's some counseling that needs to happen with police officers. I'm a firm believer in that. Um, when you're in those authority type roles where your emotions can be triggered, there needs to be some training and how to handle those situations. Some of the situations, like I said, the one where the guy went and they talking to him, stop, 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 stop. And I think they shot him and he became paralyzed and we made him seem like a victim. I didn't have an issue. I didn't, he was out of order right from the jump. The fact he got shot, I'm not mad at the officers because at this point in time, unless they can shoot out you don't know what he's going in that car for. As soon as he opened the door, it was done for me because I'm African American and I think it was white cops. But if I told you to stand at the back of the car, don't move. I'm telling you to stop. I'm telling you to stop. You open the door. I don't know what you're grabbing for. And right then and there, I'm going to go on what I'm training is. And my training is to defend myself. Waiting to the very last minute may mean I'm going to see a casket. And so oh, it's excessive force. They told that man, I don't know how many times to stop. The one where he fell asleep at the Wendy's, that was concerning to me too, because and God bless him, uh, he fell asleep, and then next thing I know, he grabbed the taser and he fighting back with the officers, and I'm like, oh my God! And again, we're only seeing the video, so I'm just going on the video. My perception from what I saw in that video. Heart goes out to all the families, the children of these people who died. But my biggest thing to say to people is listen and do what they say. Don't grab the taser. Don't fight with them. Don't argue with them. Don't pop off at the mouth because they have the gun in the badge and you're poking the bear and you don't know how that bear is going to respond. And that's something we learned, at least in my generation. Like I said, I don't know if it was a conversation or just a known thing that as Black people, you don't pop out. Even the Latino folks up in Cali, they knew better. Hands out, you like, yeah, officer, live to see another day. Live not to get beat the hell up and live not to get beat up to where they beat you to death like they did that baby. And God bless them. Whew. And it's heart-wrenching because, like I said, it is Black on Black. And they're being used now as an example to try to say, oh, it's not just white cops. That's really what it and also is the underlying thing that I'm with Linda 100%. That's why all of a sudden it's publicized even more so. And all of a sudden, oh, we're not, I'm like, Because like I said, white cops have done something similar and they on leaves, they getting paid. You done fired these guys, done all this, and boom, bam, boom, bam, boom. She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. They go home before they even arrested. She's absolutely right. Craziness. Just like they went in that poor baby's apartment and killed her and didn't announce themselves, most like craziness. Now that right there is craziness. But it tells you the mindset of the bear. Don't poke it. Especially in routine traffic stops. Do not poke the bear. Don't do it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Live to see another day. Live to see another day. You need to acknowledge authority. And it's like I worked at that ratchet trucking company. Little girl is supposed to be authority. I'm not arguing with you. I don't think you respect me. It's not a disrespect or respect. I'm doing my job. You the ones you got some issues, not me. I'm not doing my job, but you're not going to poke at me and think I'm going to, because what they wanted me to do was to do exactly what this boy did. Well, you can't talk to me that way and blah. I was just as humble, just as quiet, steadily recording how this girl talking to me. And so I don't look like the butthole. You do. I don't look like I got issues. You do. And I got it recorded. Professional, not negative. So you showing your behind. Had he got out the car and they punched him, who's showing their behind? But you don't get out the car. Then you tell them they doing extra. Then you don't lay down when they tell you to lay down. You poking the bear. And the bear, you don't know how it's going to respond. You put yourself in jeopardy. I'm not blaming him for his death because I don't believe it is his fault in the sense that he was beaten like he was. Because also now we're going to go back to the authority. You need to know how to control your temper. You need to know how to assess the situation. And you, once you have the person down and handcuffed, now you need to put them in the vehicle. You don't need to kick them. You don't need to punch them. You don't need to lay on their dang neck. You pick them up and you put them in the vehicle. That's what you're trained to supposed to do. If you're allowing your emotions to take you other places, that's a problem. That's a problem. And therefore, now you're sitting in jail as a former police officer because you let your emotions rule you. Like I said, I'm not just going to get on us. We're going to go back to the cops and look at them. They do need training. Do I believe in defunding them? No. I believe we need to put some money towards training them to control their emotions in a heated situations and how to handle it. As soon as they had him on the ground in handcuffs, you didn't need to kick him anymore. He was down. He's in handcuffs. Pick him up and put him in that vehicle and go and deal and take him in and put him in his cell and y'all deal with whatever you need to deal with, if that is even necessary. Hey, Wendy. Okay, Flatbed, you bring up another one. I didn't think about the military, but you are correct. Yeah, and so that's the other thing. It's and Bill mentioned this. It's not and Grumpy used to mention this when all this police stuff started manifesting when we started seeing it filmed. Is it's not always about the race of the police officer. Their political code is that uniform. It's the political code of blue. They see the uniform, and even if one of them is out of order, they will cover for each other. And it's kind of like we see sometimes with certain cultures. You know what I'm trying to say, where they will cover for each other, and that's the same situation. Um, is that they it's not always about color, it's sometimes about the color of the uniform. So that's a person in blue, we protect, that's a brotherhood. And that's who we protect, that brotherhood, regardless if that brotherhood has corrupt people. It's almost like if you look at Catholicism and all those pervy Catholics, remember the pervy Catholic priest molesting kids? So now all of a sudden we're dealing with it because they used to cover for them because it was about the cloth. There's a point where we got to wake up and deal with it, and you got to deal with all the abuses. This is why right now we're justifying behavior that shouldn't be justified, but I'm not negating if the bear, meaning the cop, is out of order. Good old boy network, they're the blue. And so and there are cops that are very good cops. They went in there because they wanted to do a job, they like doing the job. But unfortunately you do have some that get corrupt. You've got a lot of ego. You got a lot of people who got a badge, and all of a sudden I'm an authority, I'm the big boss on the campus, I can pop my collar. And like I said, power, if people get let power hit their head, power corrupts absolutely. If somebody doesn't know how to deal with power, it can corrupt, and people can become very corrupted. It ain't new. Look, that ain't a new thing. That's just the way it is. Um, so I'm gonna get off this subject for a minute, and let's go to where I'm done with this subject. So, last thing I'm gonna talk about, how long we been on here? Oh, well, an hour. So I must make this quick. So y'all, a little bit on pricing, and we'll tone it down and lighten it up. We have People are now talking about the prices of eggs. I just watched a video, and she travels in her van talking about eggs, but I also noticed at Christmas, cost of everything getting ready to go up even more. And there's some things possibly coming, and I just saw this, and I do keep abreast somewhat of trucking and stuff, not always like I used to, but they're talking about moving from the urine test to the hair follicle test. Now, some trucking companies are already doing it. I don't know if they were the litmus test for the federal government to do this. When that happens, you're going to most likely lose some truckers, which is also going to affect already the trucking shortage because we got a lot of people who are still doing stuff they ain't supposed to do. They just been getting away with it in a roundabout way that they aren't going to be able to get away with that with a hair follicle test because that hair going to get cut off your head. You can't hide no urine. Like I know some people I've heard hide their urine and do all sorts of weird stuff. I've never done drugs a day in my life, but I've heard all sorts of stuff. Um, Oh, I didn't know. I don't know about that. I can tell you, Wendy, what I have seen, which me and Linda were talking about, was that the chickens themselves, like when you see the chicken pieces, they look exceptionally. They say no hormones, ain't no way in hell. I looked at a breast and a leg from a chicken. I was like, what the hell? What chicken did that come from? Because it was huge. We went to go and some chicken breast, and I was been really leery up until I found a little bit more on how they were handling bird flu. We went to go buy some chicken breasts, and the chicken breasts were huge. I never seen. I'm like, what the hell chicken did that come from? Because I was like, what? That gotta have hormones. There is absolutely. I ain't never seen no chicken that the breast like huge, like monstrous. Yeah, I know it's steroids. You can't tell me it's not steroids. I already know. There's no. That's not normal. That didn't even look right. And me and Linda were talking about it. But we're sitting up here, and the eggs. I didn't know about the eggs, but I know the bird flu was one of the issues that has had some issues. The other issue, I do know right now for beef, they've been culling the beef because they said the prices are getting too high to do all of the feed and everything. So a lot of the beef has been starting to cull them. So we're seeing a lot of, you are seeing some beef sale prices. Okay. And you're seeing those sales prices because it's just getting too much. They can't afford to really do it, so they're killing beef, beef that they normally wouldn't kill. So right now you're getting some really good sale prices on some stuff. Right now I'm gonna tell you, whatever you can get on sale, you need to get it, freeze it. My freezers, I have 3 freezers right now. I even have a deep freeze. All of them are full. Um, I'm good for quite some time between pork, turkey, chicken, and beef. I'm set. I don't need nothing else. I'm set. Yes, the fake meat. Y'all give me a minute. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna move this for a second. Y'all give me a minute. Y'all gonna see the ceiling for a second. Uh, Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I'm having some. Let me move. I gotta move some stuff. So hold on. Hold on. Y'all looking at my dirty ceiling fan. I gotta dust it. Hold on. Oop, y'all went over. Hold on. And I gotta turn on this heat. Hold on. All right, there we go. Coming back, y'all. Coming back. Coming back. All right. Y'all seeing? Woohoo. And that's at a pile in the corner. That's all going on that cube. Oh. Had to run to the restroom and get the heat on. I'm cold. Hold on. Let's see here. Hey, Chicago BBW. Hold on. How you doing? Let's see here. Flatbed. So here's what I do know from just because I'm curious. So the fake meat, I saw that somebody sent me that initially, and then when I read about it, and I because I'm a researcher, I don't believe like they talking about the fake womb. I think that's not quite yet. I know they're investigating that. I don't know. That's weird to me too. But the fake chicken meat is not new. So I went and researched it. So go figure, and y'all have to go look it up. I don't know if it's true or it's false, but what I found was the McDonald's chicken nuggets, I think they said. I can't remember who else. On a couple of articles that I saw, I think those have some of that type of meat in it. Hold on, where's my phone? Hold on. Let me see. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, let's see here. Nope, that's not the one I want. What is it? Hold on. So it's in USA Today, Smithsonian Magazine, and they were talking about the different companies across the world working with these companies who grow beef, chicken, and fish in the labs. So they're talking about that as well. Okay. So it did say, and I think that they said that I thought McDonald's was one of the first places that actually have been. So we've been eating some of this all along, and it probably was the beginning experiment of it, from what I read, without us knowing. Okay. I'm not a big McDonald's fan anymore. When I was when they first started out, I used to love McDonald's. Their fries were the best ever back in the day. I'm not a McDonald's fan now. Everything's different with McDonald's to me. The whole taste good. And I'm not a fast food burger person anyway, with the exception of Whataburger. That's one of my top favorites. And I haven't been there in a minute because the ones out here are ratchet. I'm just gonna put it. The ones here in Arizona have been horrible. You go there, ain't got no lettuce, and this ain't working, that ain't working. So I'm like, I can go home and make my own burger. That texture is probably what you're tasting. Is that texture is part because what I was researching, some of the articles said that was in there was a chicken nuggets. They was one of them that they have been doing for some time. It's not new. And I can't remember what other companies, but they were mentioning other fast food restaurants that were implementing the use of the of this lab grown chicken from the sales. Okay. Um, it's not new. It's been around a minute. So, um, my like I said, my thing that I've been doing and I've been telling people is, hey, you need to stock up on food. Um, in Arizona, we got a water crisis that is going to be coming pretty soon, and it's like nobody really is. Well, it's here. Nobody's really addressing it. The previous governor we had was part of a certain party, and they don't want, they want to keep doing things the way they're going to do them, cutting those off spite face, instead of addressing issues that need to be addressed. Like, hello, we need to have water. Granted, I don't want water restrictions, but the reality is we need to have water restrictions because things are bad, and in the next several years, things are going to get worse. And it's already bad. But what really, my neighbor over here, he's Native American, and or I didn't know he's Native American, but one of his buddies was over here working on his car, and in the summer, I said something about it being hot. And then I was like, and I said, and we just got to casual talk, and we talked about the fact that all the water ration. And he says, farmers are being told to cut back their water usage, but they still water in the golf courses. Like I said, there's a mentality that is backwards, but hey, I'm going to do what I want to do, cut nose off spite face. So now we're doing fake meat, and I'm not talking about like vegetarian, like vegetarians do with plant-based meats. I'm talking about going into a lab, taking some cells from a real live animal, and then creating fake, this lab based meat. We're not talking taking fish or taking chickens and getting them into a lab base and then having them, providing an environment where they flourish, grow, and then you basically use that as a food source. Now we're talking about creating meat, and this is not a lot of people. I'm very big on this. This ain't just coming out the blue. They know things are going to have problems here in the very near future, especially with a water shortage. And especially, I forgot how many states are handled here on my thing beep, y'all. Let me get off here because it's telling me this needs to be ended anyway. I got to change the battery up in my fire alarm. I don't know how many people are going not to realize that we are in a time and you need to store up food. You need to store up water. I don't know, because like I said, I don't know how this is gonna be handled. And then, like I said, with them getting ready to do this whole hair follicle test in trucking, I got people right now who I know are in transportation. Oh, hey, a question: do they do a urine test or a hair test? Why are you worried? If you're not doing drugs, you shouldn't have to worry about what kind of test they're doing. So that tells me that you doing something or have done something within a relative time that you scared that if they cut your hair, they're gonna see the truth. But you think you can manipulate the urine sample. I'm like, my question is, why are you asking me that? Because I don't use. So tells me that something ain't right if that's what you wonder how they do the drug sample. Why does it matter? If you doing like you're supposed to do with somebody in transportation, you shouldn't be using it all. So therefore, you shouldn't even be concerned about what kind of drug test they're doing. It's craziness. All right, y'all, let me read this and then I'm going to get off here because we at 143. That is part of where we do get water from Colorado, but a lot of it, Colorado, and I forgot where else, but all of which is drought based, and it's going to impact California, Arizona, parts of Texas, I think New Mexico, and I can't remember. I thought there was another state. Anyway, we're all impacted by the drought, and the drought is bad. I mean, it's really bad. If you see, like, even our lakes that were lakes that I remember, people used to go out there with their boats. It's not good. It's bad. And the number of people that are still moving here, it's even making it worse. And they've approved housing that they said in the next, I forgot how many years, there won't be enough water to even support that population coming in. You guys can look up. We have a city here in Arizona. Sorry about the beep, and I'm going to get off here. It's called Scottsdale, and I forgot the other city They were sending water to an outskirt city. Well, they cut that because of the water shortage, and all these people now don't have water. Now, some people's like, well, oh, one of my friends, she's so cold. She like, they knew for over a year this was coming. Yes, cut nose off, spite face. First of all, you are living in a place you got to have your water come in on a truck. You need to be looking at alternative ways of getting water, like rain harvesting water, wells, things like that. If that's not available, you should not be putting a home out there. And so now they having all sorts of fits and stuff with the city of Scottsdale because Scottsdale, like, yeah, we're not supplying your water no more. And the reason Scottsdale's not supplying it because we have a water shortage, and it's costing them also probably an arm and a leg to put that to send that water out there to these people in this outskirt suburb city. So there's a lot coming. So I always tell people right now, you need to be on your food game. We people are trying to live life as normal. Bible says as in the days of Noah. And people are just going to try to keep on doing what they're doing, even though you can see something's coming. I'm still going to keep on doing what I cut nose off, spite face. We got to change it up. We got to change it up. Anyway, y'all, hold on. Let me read the last few and then I'm going to get off here. Yeah, if they do the follicle test, I don't know if they are or aren't, but if they do, they are, can already tell you that's going to be a huge hit on your trucking community because you're going to lose truckers because there's truckers doing stuff they ain't supposed to be doing. And you're going to lose a lot of truckers because the hair follicle test goes back, I forgot how many years to show drug usage. That's number one. Uh, and that is going to hit the industry. And if that hits the industry, you're going to have the shortage is already bad. It's going to be way worse. Way worse if they did it. I know they were talking about it. Oh, flatbed is very, you got to be Christian to understand where it's going. I mean, no offense to anybody. The Bible talks of a time when things are going to get hard. One of the things that's going to happen is this world, and I'm going to close on my little Christian note. This world's got to get into a situation, a money situation, a food situation, to where this wonderful individual comes on the scene and tells you he has all the solutions to your problems. And because the world is going to be so desperate for those solutions, they're going to accept this person. They're going to take whatever he says as gospel, and it's going to be a hot mess. That's what this is all. For those of us who Christian, this is all something foretold of biblically. This isn't new. What's irony to me is I was in trucking school and I went to an environmental conference I was invited to because I used to study my trucking stuff at a coffee shop where a lot of ASU people were at. Well, some of the professors and stuff, you see me coming there all the time. They invited me to this conference. And I think I talked about it on the channel a long time ago. Paid me like $50, $75 plus fed us lunch. And what they talked about is the exact thing I'm saying right now. This isn't new. This isn't new, but it's also not new in the sense that now it's manifesting and it's biblical. And so what's coming, that's why I said, I'm looking, where's the rapture, Lord? Because what we're seeing right now is even like the behaviors I'm talking about, this self-centered, self-will behavior and the lack of any kind of concern for authority. All of this spoken of. This is not new. Anyway, y'all, we're at hour 48 minutes, which is way too long. And the beeper, I got to go in here and reset it. Linda's got to come by with the ladder. We haven't gone up there. I got to put a new battery in. I thought this thing was electrically put in, but it's a battery. I can see the battery compartment. It started beeping. So you have to reset it and the beep stops, but I ain't going to do that right now. Anyway, y'all, 2 and 2, be blessed. Peace. I might do one in a couple of weeks. See y'all later. Y'all have a good one.